Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning if you happen to be in Queensland or Western Australia. This is the weekly Purple Penny coin news video. We hold this every Monday at about 12 o'clock Adelaide time. It's actually a public holiday here in Adelaide today, but if you've ever run a small business, you'll know that there's never actually a day off, so we're in here today getting a few hours work done. Hopefully it won't be for too much longer. We've already been here for a few hours. We'll go home and have some lunch at home. Catherine's over there doing her mailing, catching up on the weekend sales. This week in the shop, sales-wise has been a little bit quiet, but purchase-wise has been very busy. Actually, purchasing over the last month has been stupendously good. Lots of interesting stuff coming in. A lot of it is not necessarily coins and banknotes, but it's always good to get some interesting stuff in here. I guess the news for this week really is just around the mint releases that are coming up on Wednesday and Thursday, and I've talked about them for a few weeks now. The Wiggles for $2 coin and $1 coin set is due to drop on Wednesday. That'll be available from Woolworths, from the Mint, and from Mint distributors who decided to actually get some of them. On Thursday, the balance of the Mint releases will drop. Unfortunately, all of them are on shipping delay, apart from the Mungo 20-cent piece, the copper nickel version, and the RSPCA releases, which is the box set and the 7 individual coins. Now, just a little bit of comment on the RSPCA release. We weren't aware that there is actually a 9th coin that is available exclusive from the Mint or directly from the RSPCA themselves. So there's the 7 coins which are available individually, plus they are in the box set, and the box set also has an additional coloured coin, a wombat coin, which can only be got in the box set. And if you go and read the Mint's release about the new products for October, you'll actually see that there's a 9th dollar coin, frosted unk dollar coin, which can only be purchased directly from the Mint or from RSPCA. So those of you who are into your dollar coins will have to get onto the Mint website or the RSPCA website and obtain that coin that way. I thought that was interesting. Thank you to Tracy, who's one of our regulars here in the shop, for bringing that to our attention. The products that are on shipping delay are the Ambulance $2 rolls and the Ambulance Cement marks, plus the silver version of the Mungo coin and the silver kangaroo, which I believe is, or I don't believe, it's a half-ounce silver coin, but I also believe it's the silver version of the gold ballot coin. Now, all of those items are on shipping delay from the Mint to their suppliers from the 11th of October at the earliest, which is a week today. So I wouldn't expect to have those available to ship out of the shop now for at least until the end of next week at least, so pretty close to 2 weeks. So don't, I guess, go into a shop and expect to get the ambulance coins directly at the shop, because they won't have them. And also, if you are buying them online, just be aware that there will be a several day delay before those products are shipped to you. So hello to Paul and Cameron, Alex, John, Patrick, Val, Mike, Maria, Greg, and Al. Al is a shop regular. It's good to see you joining us live today, Al. Couple of items of interest in the news this week that are coin related. The Royal Mint has minted a 2 kilo 99.99% gold coin to celebrate James Bond. I imagine it's to celebrate the last movie that Daniel Craig has made, playing that iconic character. And of those 7 coins, one of them is actually being raffled. I think for £10 you can buy a ticket for to win one of the 2 kilo gold coins. The value to buy one of the gold coins, I think, is $160 £100,000. The actual gold value in a 2 kilo gold coin is probably something like $140,000. So fair premium over face value on that. I don't know anyone that can afford a 2 kilo gold coin, but if you can, good luck to you. About a month ago, you would have heard me mention a French mansion that was being renovated, and workers in the mansion actually knocked a hole in the wall and found over 200 gold coins in a cavity in the wall. Those coins all auctioned last week, and they fetched just a bit over €1 million, which I think is about $1.6 million Australian. Individually, not hugely valuable, I guess. If you divide 101.6 million by 200, you know they're worth a few $1,000s each. Not a bad find though in the wall of your house that you're renovating to find over €1 million. Now, the topic of the week came about from seeing this jigger up for sale on eBay in the USA. It's a Lincoln cent, and it's been struck through a bolt. I'm not sure if it's a hex head bolt or an Allen head bolt, but the bolt has bonded to the coin that Lincoln cent there. That's been graded by PCGS. It's in a big oversized holder, sort of about that big, a big one, and being sold by a very well-known US error coin dealer for $30,000. So it's not something that we'll be buying. And according to the listing, it's one of just 3 of Lincoln cent errors of this type that are known. Now, the strike-through error is an interesting one because it is probably the most humble coin error that you can find. And if you are into sort of modern mint releases, especially dollar coins and $2 coins, you don't have to look through the product that the Royal Australian Mint puts out for very long to find newly released product that has strike-throughs on it. The 2 penny restrike set that was released a month or 2 ago, many of those coins that we looked at had little oil strike-throughs on them. So just wondering what a strike-through is. It's when some sort of foreign material gets onto the surface of the dies or the surface of the planchet, and then the coin is struck, and you end up with evidence of that material on the surface of the coin. So in the case of this Lincoln cent here, the evidence is obvious because it's right there still stuck to the coin. It got struck through a bolt, and there it is. So, you know, these sort of strike-through errors range from the most humble minor oil strike-throughs, which you can find fairly easily, right up until, you know, this sort of thing that you see here, which is truly stupendous. So I thought today what we'd do is we'd just have a look at a range of coin strike-through errors and just give you some idea of what to look out for, what might cause them, and you know, perhaps like to give you a bit of eye candy. I should say that most of the coins I'm going to show you are ours in our own personal collection, but there's a few obvious ones that aren't. So we've got that Lincoln cent there. Obviously that is I'm trying to say something without swearing here, but that's sort of the pinnacle of this type of error, and you're going to struggle to find anything better than this. So let's have a look at what, you know, the sorts of things that you might be able to find in, you know, if you're looking around. And this is a good example of a 20 cent piece that has been struck through perhaps oil or water or something like that on the reverse. So you can see the top part of the reverse design there. Most of the design is missing. And you'll also see that the rims are beautifully struck up. They're very strongly struck up around that area and also on the obverse side opposite, which suggests that there was some foreign material on the die. It probably was oil, and that the metal had to go somewhere. It couldn't, oil is incompressible, so it couldn't moved the oil. So what it's done is it's formed up those rims beautifully, it's filled out the obverse die beautifully, and you end up with a great big oil strike through like this, which is a pretty desirable sort of error. Are you going to find one like this in your change? Yeah, you can. I've had noodlers bring these in here with this sort of degree of strike through on them. You do see it reasonably often up on Facebook groups and things like that. So this is absolutely something that you may well find in your change, a big oil strike through like this. What other things can a coin be struck through? It could be struck through what's typically called scrap. So this is a sixpence, obviously, with an obverse strike through there, and it's clear that it's been struck through a piece of rectangular scrap that has folded in half. And what does that come from? My guess it's probably come from a detached planchet floor, and whether it detached from this coin or another coin. The weight of this coin is bang on, so I'm fairly certain that it's not a detached planchet floor off of this coin, it's off of something else, but it's clearly a folded strip of rectangular metal that this coin has been struck through. I've got several of these in my collection that have been struck through folded bits of scrap, and I think that they're a very underrated type of error. You don't see them very often, and it is so obvious what they are, and that's key with errors, is buying errors that it is obvious what they are, and these are a wonderful example of an obvious type of error. They're quite significant, and I find them to be extremely interesting. So I'll just go on to the next one here, which was actually submitted to me today. This is one that one of our very own video watchers found in noodling, I think this morning or last night. Cameron, perhaps you can answer. It's I believe it's a 20-cent piece that has been struck through a bit of wire. I'm a bit doubtful with these sorts of errors whether it is actually wire or whether it's a bit of swarf, or swarf is the metal remnants of machining, so milling or lathing or things like that. But it's clearly been struck through something. It's not a scratch. There's no sort of displaced metal that would happen if it was a scratch. There's no, if it was a gouge, it'd be metal raised around the edges of it. And if you actually look at Cameron's excellent picture, you'll actually see that the surface of the coin slopes down gently towards the struck through area, which is probably what you would expect to see if a coin is struck through a bit of debris, because obviously you've got a round piece of wire like this, and if you strike the metal, it's not going to form around beautifully around the entire circumference of the bit of wire. There is going to be some area there that it doesn't wrap around, and the result is you're going to get a slope. Surface of the coin is going to slope gently towards the struck through area. So great strike through error, Cameron, well done on finding that, and this is evidence that you can find these errors if you do look hard enough. Next one is a similar one. This is a penny that's been struck through a curling bit of wire that extends down right across the face. I should just say that these sorts of struck through areas where it's been struck through a bit of foreign material, the value of them goes up rather exponentially if whatever it's been struck through is still there. So we saw the bolt at the beginning that had been struck through a Lincoln cent. I've got a penny that's been struck through some swarf, or perhaps a screw, or I'm not exactly sure what it is, but whatever it is, it's still in there. I couldn't find a picture of it. I was wanting to show it to you, but I couldn't find a picture of it. And we had a gentleman bring in a 20-cent piece here a couple of months ago, a 20-cent piece that had been struck through a piece of yellow plastic, a fairly good sized piece of yellow plastic. And how do I know that? Because the bit of yellow plastic was still there. It was 2 or 3 millimeters along each side, and it was clearly a beautiful little error that he had found in his change. So struck through errors with the bit of garbage that it was struck through that is still there are quite valuable and very unusual and very hard to find. Right, where are we now? I didn't do a very good job naming my... Okay, that's right. Here's a good one. So this is a coin that Catherine and I picked out of a dealer's books at a show several years ago. He didn't know what it was. He wasn't even sure that it was an error, but we were fairly confident that it was an error. We call it the Rhino florin for obvious reasons. It's got a crescent, part of a crescent-shaped indent on the reverse, a clear crescent-shaped indent, and if you look at the obverse side, there's no damage opposite that area, and in fact, if you just look at the lip, the bottom of the obverse side there, you can see just a bit of a raised lip there. So clearly this has been struck through something that is of a significant size, and if you put your mind to last week's presentation where we talked about clipped planchets, it's not hard to imagine that this was actually struck through a bit of detached clip planchet, so a moon-shaped bit of clip planchet that had obviously become dislodged from a coin, or perhaps was in the blanks that were fed into the coin press, and this coin at least was at least one of those that was struck against it. And the really tantalizing thing about this is that somewhere at some point that crescent-shaped bit of clip planchet was struck with part of the reverse design of a florin, and whether it made through quality control or got out into the wild, or perhaps it's nice to think that this is sitting in someone's collection somewhere, that little crescent shape of bit of clip planchet that has been struck on one side. So this is I've never seen another florin error like this one, and it's a good one. I'm very pleased to have found this one. This is not our error. This is an error from a guy that we know that has a fantastic error collection. It's graded by PCGS as AU55, and it's been struck through a feeder finger, and it's the only Australian coin that I know of that's been struck through a feeder finger. A feeder finger is a bit of equipment that is in a coin press that actually feeds the blanks into the press. Sometimes you'll see Mexican coins and other South American coins that it's been struck through a feeder finger and it's actually still attached to the feeder finger. This one obviously isn't attached to the feeder finger, but it's a pretty significant strike through. How on earth it got out into the wild, I have no idea. It is oversized. It has massive indentations on the obverse, obviously. The collar is bulging out. It's a very significant error, and the only one of its type that I've ever seen. Australian one at least. So, and the last thing that we were going to show today, and this was Catherine's idea. This was when she went to the launch of the new RAM gallery in 2012. They had some errors on display there, and it's a very similar example to the Lincoln cent that we showed right at the beginning. It's a proof 1992 20 cent that has been struck through a bolt and is bonded to the bolt. This is in the Mint's own collection. This isn't available for purchase, but given the strength of the Australian error market, if something like this got out into the wild, then you could imagine it easily getting $20,000 or $30,000. It's a fantastic error, and one that you could only ever hope to own. Mike, no, Catherine didn't steal it. She probably drooled on it a bit, but yeah, it would be lovely to actually get to examine an error like this, but obviously it's unlikely that something like this would get out into the wild. If you know anything about proof coins, they are struck basically by hand at the mint, they're not run through an automated press there. The blanks are placed by hand into a press and then struck twice by an operator pressing a button twice. So clearly something bad has happened here with that press when it was making these, and it would have been retrieved by the operator immediately and put to one side. The mint is reasonably good at not allowing things like this to escape into the wild, but there has been, I guess, that US cent that we showed earlier probably was smuggled out in someone's pocket, you'd imagine. So yeah, this is a fabulous error to close out the day today. So that's strike through errors. Do look for them in your change. You do find good ones in your change. Cameron, who is watching, found a good one. We've had that 20 cent with a bit of plastic in it come through here as well, which was found here in Adelaide. And oil strikes are not uncommon. So, struck through coin errors are a humble error, but very interesting and not too difficult to find. That's it. Thanks everyone for watching and commenting. Everyone, please have a good week. I think the country is slowly coming out of the insanity that's been going on for the last few years. I do hope that everyone here stays safe and healthy and has a great week. Happy coin collecting. As always, we're looking for topics and interesting things to show in these videos. These do get posted up to YouTube if you want to go back and watch them later. Gosh knows why you'd want to do that though. If you're not on YouTube, or you are on YouTube, please pop over there and subscribe to our channel. There is some content that gets put up only over there and not onto Facebook. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe, happy collecting. Bye for now. See you next week.